ahead on ABC 6 News. First at 4, what we know about a shooting in broad daylight in front of a mosque in the capital city. Plus, taking to the streets once again, what we're learning about the latest protest in Providence calling for change in the Middle East. And tragedy in Fall River after an early morning crash left a woman dead. What we know so far about that incident. Those stories in a check of your forecast starting right now on ABC 6 News, first at 4.
This is Southern New England's trusted news source, ABC 6 News, first at 4.
Our top story at 4 o'clock. A man is recovering at this hour after he was shot outside of a mosque in Providence. Thanks so much for joining us at 4. I'm Tiffany Murphy. Police tell us they cannot confirm if it was a hate crime. ABC 6 News reporter Caitlin Gilhouse joins us outside live from that mosque in the south part of the capital city. Caitlin, what details have police told you?
Well, Tiffany, a 50-year-old man was shot here outside of the mosque around 11 o'clock this morning in broad daylight. Now, he was selling Islamic goods right here on the street outside of the mosque when it happened. Now, police tell us that the 50-year-old was shot in his lower backside. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The victim worked at the mosque and he was selling Islamic goods outside when he was shot. Police are still investigating. They're not yet ready to say the victim's religion played any role in this shooting.
I have no factual evidence of that at this point, but I will tell you this, that the gentleman, the victim, was a worker here. He's affiliated with the mosque. It looks like he was selling Islamic goods in front of the mosque. And while he was doing so, someone came up and shot at him specifically.
Now, police did share with us that there were witnesses that saw what happened, and they have spoken to them. Stick with us both on air and line for the latest developments into the investigation as we gather information from police. For now, live in Providence, Caitlin Gilhouse, ABC 6 News.
Thank you much, Caitlin. And this just into the ABC 6 newsroom at 4. Providence police say one person was stabbed in the chest just a few blocks over from where Caitlin was, where that shooting happened. It happened on Somerset Street. Police confirming to ABC 6 that one person was taken into custody. You can see this here. The victim's condition, we're told, is non-life threatening. That person was taken to the hospital. We will update you online and on air as additional information is released. Happening right now. Protesters gathering once again in the capital city. They're calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East and an end to the U.S. support of Israel in its war with Hamas. ABC 6 News reporter Josh Kerman joins us now live from that protest. Josh, what have you seen so far there?
Tiffany, hundreds of protesters are gathered here in downtown Providence at the Textron headquarters. You can see people. The demonstration today is organized by the Party for Socialism and Liberation, one of dozens of local protests calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East over the past month. Hundreds are gathered here demanding an end to what they call the complicity of our government and our schools in the occupation of Palestine and the ongoing genocide in Gaza. They're here at Textron because it's a defense technology provider with the U.S. military, which provides aid to Israel. Protesters have told us they won't stop until their demands are met.
Regardless of whether I was living there or was just going to visit family in Gaza, I would have been among those who have been massacred. I know that as a Palestinian American, my life has no value according to the settler colonial state of Israel and the United States government.
Last week, another peaceful protest was held here at Textron, and before that, 2 RISD students were arrested for allegedly vandalizing the building. Brown University also saw a massive protest where 20 students were arrested for trespassing while calling for a ceasefire. Today's protest included students from both RISD and Brown walking out of classes. In a previous statement, Textron told us it respects the rights of people to engage in peaceful and lawful protest, and Providence police were on the scene outside of the building. Live in Providence, Josh Kerman, ABC 6 News.
Thanks, Josh. New at 4 o'clock, a woman is dead after Massachusetts State Police say she was hit by a pickup truck along Route 24 this morning. According to officers, around 5:15, a 44-year-old driver was headed north on the highway when he hit her. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, the identities of the victim and driver have not yet been released. Police tell us they are investigating why the woman was on the highway. That section of 24 North was closed for several hours as it backed up traffic for miles. The roadway reopened around 9 o'clock. Fall River police arresting 4 people after an investigation into an illegal gun. Detectives found out that a 16-year-old that lived in the Maple Gardens housing development had a gun, but when they went there to find him, he and another teen jumped into a nearby car and drove off. Officers were able to track down that vehicle. They arrested both of them, as well as a 17-year-old girl and 20-year-old Angel Andres Martinez Malave, who had been driving that car. A ghost gun and a BB gun were found in the car. They are tonight all facing gun and conspiracy charges. An ABC 6 News follow-up at 4 o'clock. Salem Hospital, where hundreds of patients may have been exposed to HIV, is now facing a class action lawsuit. Mass General Brigham, which owns Salem Hospital, said earlier this week that around 450 patients were potentially impacted over a 2-year period. The hospital described what happened as an isolated practice that was not consistent with typical guidelines used with endoscopy patients. The hospital says the infection risk is extremely small, and so far no infections have been found, but they tell us they are continuing to test just in case. The Smithfield High School student who was hit while working at a haunted hayride returning to the classroom today after weeks of being treated for serious injuries. Smithfield High School welcoming Giada Lanzieri, who was hit just before Halloween while she was working as a scare actor at Seven Cedars Farm. That farm closed the haunted hayride for the rest of the season. Lanzieri's family says they've hired a lawyer. First at 4, a live look over Providence on this Friday afternoon. Let's get a check of our forecast. Providence now, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Banson joins us live in the Weather Center. We have made it to Friday and the weather did not disappoint 2 days in a row.
Certainly did not, Tiffany. We did have some dense fog out there early this morning. We saw that building at 11 o'clock last night, and it really did overspread a pretty good part of the region, so much so that it did prompt that dense fog advisory from the National Weather Service during the overnight hours. But once that lifted, it did yield way to partly sunny skies, and yeah, the temperatures soared into the 60s once again. A pair of 6s right on the nose with our forecast from yesterday at TF Green. As high as 68 degrees in Norwood, pushing 70, made a run at it. A valiant effort, didn't get there. 66 in Boston as well, Plymouth, New Bedford as well, 60 in Newport over to Westerly, 62 there. We got one spot that didn't make it out of the 50s, and that was Hyannis at 59. And there's a good reason for that, because the water temperatures are also about 58, 59 degrees, and that's such a water component, you know, sticking out in the water as Cape Cod does. So for that reason, a little bit cooler, but there you can see the winds right now. It is breezy out there this evening. Winds around 15 miles per hour, closing in on 20. That's nothing compared to what's on the way tomorrow. We've got some gusty stuff to talk about. Clouds have begun to overspread the region. There's our cold front. Nice looking cold front, right? Very healthy looking cold front. That's probably be all that is going to bring us rain. We've been talking all week about the coastal storm, and there it is developing off the Carolinas down towards Jacksonville, Florida right now. But as we advance in time here, you'll see that that storm, even though it is a nice looking coastal storm, will stay out to sea. And we're just going to get a couple of showers from that cold front, sweeping it on out of here as we head into tomorrow morning. And that's all she wrote for rain this weekend, Tiffany. But we've got some other things to talk about coming up here, as well as your Thanksgiving forecast. Some interesting weather as we head towards the big travel day next week. We'll tell you about that coming up.
Absolutely. And if folks are out and about and they see rain, or maybe they see their kids playing in the leaves, or maybe they walk their dog, all you have to do is download our Providence Now app. You can do that by scanning the QR code on your screen right now, and then you can see what's going on in southern New England at this very moment while you also upload your video. Other local stories we are following at 4 o'clock. Soon families will be gathering around the table. They'll be enjoying a holiday meal together, but really that isn't the case for everyone. One local business owner is stepping up to provide Thanksgiving dinners to 20,000 people all across the Ocean State. Ed Medeiros partnering with Family Services of Rhode Island this year, and about 100 volunteers loading and dropping off holiday meals. Medeiros has been helping families in need since 1994. And after selling his company that used to support the drives, he started handing turkeys out through his own family's charity.
At the end of the day, we all need to show that kindness to other people, because kindness is not something that just happens. It's something you do every day and live every day.
4,000 turkeys and 3,300 fixin' baskets were sent out to families today. Madero says the drive is always growing and could serve even 1,000 more families next year. As millions prepare for Thanksgiving feasts, food banks across the country say they're getting pushed to the brink right now. According to USA Today, food bank CEOs say this is the worst rate of hunger they've seen in years. They say the level of need is similar to past recessions as they try and serve more people with fewer resources. More families are turning to food banks since pandemic-era aid ended earlier this year. Mount Pleasant Library hosting the Friends Winter Clothing Sale tomorrow. There will be deals on coats, sweaters, sweatshirts, scarves, mittens, boots, and more. All proceeds will benefit the library. It's happening tomorrow on Mount Pleasant Library. It's on Academy Ave from 9:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. Tomorrow, We Share Hope Market will hold a food drive for Thanksgiving. It takes place at PPAC from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. All non-perishable foods are welcomed, like peanut butter, pasta, rice, oatmeal, canned soup, and stews. Those who donate will receive a discount for PPAC's Dr. Seuss the Musical. Those performances are happening November 28th through December 3rd. Today is the first day of the Holiday Sparkle event at the Newport Mansions. Take a look at this. It's so beautiful. This is the 4th year that the mansions will be illuminated across the 13-acre landscape, including a 50-foot long, 26-foot tall light display on the back lawn. The event does require a special ticket with a specific date and time. Those tour times are 4, 4:30, 5, 5:30, and 6. It runs through December 30th. Hey, what are you up to this weekend? We want to see your videos and photos of maybe some fun activities that you plan to do with your friends and family on Saturday and Sunday. We might even show them right here on TV. You can do all of that by downloading our Providence Now local news app or by scanning the QR code that's on your screen right now. Just ahead on ABC 6 News, first at 4. It may not seem like it, but the gathering of world leaders really impacts all of us. A look at how the APEC summit may affect your wallet. Plus, the IDF says they have found tunnels under Gaza's largest hospital. Hamas rejecting that claim, though. What the U.S. has to say. You're watching ABC 6, Southern New England's trusted